Hello. Welcome back to Starcastic Remarks. Along with Christian, my brother, my name is Ryan. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook and Raycon. Christian, Raycon has returned as a sponsor. Aren't you excited?
I am so excited. I love Raycon.
For those of you that don't remember, it was a long time ago. He was like devastated when they stopped being a presenting sponsor of our podcast. But they're back, full-fledged. So are the Dallas Stars. They get a win tonight in the most unconventional way ever. Hey, at least they get the win. 3-2 in overtime. They sort of kind of defeat their overtime past 60-minute woes a little bit tonight. I'm not happy at the way they played tonight in the short little periods of time that I saw. But you know what? They get the win tonight. It's the first game after the All-Star break. Chris, how you feeling?
And most importantly, the captain, Jamie Benn, with his 1,000th NHL game, all of them played in a Dallas Stars sweater. Oh my goodness, that is fantastic. I've given Jamie Benn a good amount of crap, especially this offseason. And y'all rightfully called me out on it. I agree with that too. I deserve to be called out on it as well. I stand by it though still. But all in all, Jamie Benn, he is this era of the Dallas Stars. I mean, seriously, post Modano, that is Jamie Benn. That's the Jamie Benn era. We got the Modano era, we got the Benn era. That's what it is. And he's just been such an important part to this franchise, the rebrand and everything, the new star rising thing that we had going on for a long time. I mean, that was Jamie Benn. And if the coronavirus pandemic doesn't happen, who knows what happens with this team? I mean, it could have really blown up and taken off in those years that it was shut down. So yeah, Jamie Benn is fantastic. I love him so much, even despite the crap I give him. So I'm very happy for him and glad he got honored tonight in the game because he's a really important Dallas Star, one of the best ever.
I literally got teary-eyed watching the tribute video they had with the first TV timeout. They didn't even go to the TV timeout on Bally Sports Southwest. If that doesn't tell you anything about how important this guy is to the franchise, to the city, I don't know what does. But Christian, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot a little bit when I ask you this, but do you have like a favorite Jamie Benn moment? What's the moment in your head that sticks out in his career as your favorite?
So the one that's jumped out immediately was actually when John Klingberg scored the overtime winning goal to send us past the Nashville Predators. I think 2019, if I got that right. I don't know. Somewhere around there. Overtime goal by John Klingberg, and Jamie Benn's not even a part of the goal. He doesn't get an assist or anything. But right after it's scored, he's just he button hooks around the corner of the ice. He's just banging his stick against the glasses. All the Stars fans go crazy, and the confetti rains down. I mean, that's the first thing I think of. I mean, the guy loves this hockey team. And he loves the fans too. I mean, for how much he doesn't like interviews, he does always show appreciation for Stars fans, and he loves when we're excited. So he really feeds off of us.
And I even watched it a couple of days ago. I think it was on Saturday that I watched it. It has to be when he won the Art Ross Trophy. Yeah, he literally won the Art Ross Trophy with less than 10 seconds to go remaining in that period. Like, he would not have won the Art Ross Trophy because John Tavares had more goals than him. So the tiebreaker would have made John Tavares as the Art Ross winner. But just the sheer jubilation of not just him, but watching the rest of the team around him, right? So like it was, I even remember it was Cody Eakin who scored the goal with less than 10 seconds remaining. Nobody cared that Cody Eakin scored that goal. Nobody did. Cody Eakin, he put it in the back of the net, and he immediately pointed to Jamie Benn, and then just the entire team just completely hounded him. And that right there shows you how amazing Jamie Benn is. He's never about himself in the things that he does, but yet he has such a capacity to be loved by this fan base and by his teammates that right there shows you how much he means to his teammates. Yeah, I mean, watching Cody Eakin and Rich Peverly and Jason Spezza and all these guys of the past, just the way that they acted when he scored, when Eakin scored the goal and he got the secondary assist because it went off of his leg. I mean, how cool of a moment. It was the greatest moment in his career, in my opinion. I loved watching.
It shows his leadership more than anything in that moment to me. I mean, the fact that the team is trying so hard to score another goal after scoring the empty net goal, the game's over. I mean, nothing else realistically in the game is going to happen. There's no reason to try and score another goal other than the whole team wanted to elevate their leader, Jamie Benn. I mean, to have guys go that hard for you in a game that doesn't matter and they're just waiting to go on vacation. I mean, that shows you the kind of leader that he is. The guys around him trust him and they want him to succeed because Jamie Benn helps them succeed. So,
and I'm hoping that another great moment of his is watching him in the locker room. I guess it was in Edmonton during the bubble playoffs when they lost in Game 6, and I'm hoping that that's going to be like a crowning moment for him, and that he gets the opportunity to raise the Stanley Cup as a Dallas Stars captain. It only makes sense for him to be able to raise it, right? I mean, it has to be coming here soon with the talent that we have now, with the way that he's playing right now. He's been resurged playing with Wyatt Johnston. It just seems about the right time, even though we have still a lot of questions about this team, regardless of them being first place in the Western Conference, right?
It does feel like that's the only thing he's missing, doesn't it?
I mean, he's got a gold medal from the Olympics, right?
He's won everything else. That's the only thing. That's the last one. And boy, you were right. That image from Edmonton, you know how badly he wants it.
Oh man, I really hope he gets it. So, anyway, we kind of raved about him for the first 6 minutes of this podcast. It's not even about,
as we should have,
technically him, but we definitely should. Congratulations to Jamie Benn for his 1000th game, and I hope he has lots more to come. I really do. And I know that, and you mentioned it, Chris, we get onto these players all the time, and we call them out, whether it's Garyanov or Sagan or Ben or whoever. But the reason why we do is because we care about this team so much and we love to see them succeed. That's why we started this podcast, right? We love this team so much. That's kind of why we did this. So, anyways, in other big storylines coming into this game, that's obviously the biggest one. This was John Klingberg's first game back into the Dallas area as a member of the Anaheim Ducks. So that was obviously a big storyline as well. And it was interesting to see how Klingberg would play in this game. And I thought he played fairly decently considering he's in front of his old home crowd.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was scoring the overtime winner and he was going to spoil it for us, but I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, so anyway, to begin this game, it's Ottinger versus Gibson. First game after the All-Star break. It's a pretty sloppy game through the first period, to be totally honest. There was not a lot going on, but I mean, it was still kind of fun. It was still fun. I thought that the passes could have been a little bit more crisp from the Stars. Their exits out of their own zone were pretty good. There was a couple of chances through the first period. At the first TV timeout, obviously we already talked about it, but Jamie Benn got the tribute video. And then immediately afterwards, Rope Hintz got a breakaway off the rush. It was a great play by that top line. The top line looked excellent to start off the game. And then Nils Lundkvist, fresh off of, 4 games off, basically had 2 weeks off, to be honest with you, with a little game in between right before the All-Star break. But he scores after a really great play by Faksa. And Faksa with a beautiful setup for Lundkvist, and Lundkvist puts it away. It's 1-0 Stars right there.
Yeah, really great play for them. I always love to see Nils Lundkvist score, and it seems like the coaches look real smart now. I mean, you give him a break and he starts doing good again. We saw that happen earlier in the season as well. I mean, he's still a young guy, probably not used to the full NHL schedule, so giving him a little rest is obviously helping. I mean, he always plays so much better afterwards. So, and I thought he played a great game overall tonight. He was really good.
So with that goal, Nils Lundkvist is actually tied for the rookie D-man goal scoring race. So he's tied now. And I forget who is the other person he's tied with, but that's still impressive considering he's been scratched for several games. But I also wanted to put this question forward because this kind of popped into my head. So what's the difference between Lundkvist getting a break and say someone like Wyatt Johnston getting a break? Is it Lundqvist has a little bit more pressure on him as a defenseman, and that's why, Wyatt Johnston is not getting as much break as him? Or, I mean, do you understand the question I'm trying to ask here?
Yeah, I understand. Like time off, like with the healthy scratches and stuff.
Right.
I think the big thing is that Johnston is showing consistency with his play. Night in and night out, you're getting pretty much the same thing with Johnston, where Lundqvist has a lot higher highs and a lot lower lows. So I think that really shows more signs of just needing more playing time, needing breaks every once in a while. It's showing signs of wear and tear, in my opinion. So whereas Johnston is not really showing, he's not showing wear. I mean, eventually he might, but it's just not happening right now. The other thing is also that Johnson is in a much more, he's needed a lot more, I think, in the lineup than Lundqvist is. So you swap out Lundqvist for Hanley and it works out. If you sit Johnston, the line
That really hurts.
that line is busted. So he's a little bit more important on this team right now, for sure.
And I think, just for me, I think Lundqvist just has a lot more responsibility as a defenseman in what he's doing right now. So that's just what I think. But I'm glad he's taking advantage of the time off. Anyways, the next TV timeout, they recognize Klinger. I wish I could have seen that tribute video on Bally Sports Southwest, but I understand why they didn't do it. They already did it for Jamie Benn. So they have a couple of power plays in the first period and a penalty kill. That first power play looked excellent. The first unit was out there for over a minute and a half, and there was a lot of great movement. There was chances for Pavelski, Hintz, Miro, Ben, but yet, Christian, this is going to be one of the negative things tonight. They don't bury their chances, and they don't take advantage of the scoring chances that they get.
Yeah, and let's just go ahead and get right into all the power plays. Almost all of them were really good. I mean, they were pretty great overall, but I don't know if you blame just execution or if you just give all the credit to Gibson on it. Probably somewhere in the middle there, but
Yeah.
Gibson was fantastic and made some ridiculous saves and was super strong on the power play. But I mean, 5 power plays, you got to score one. You can't lose the special teams battle to the Ducks. That can't happen.
Well, and let's just go ahead and jump into the second period. The end of the second period, you have to score on that 5-on-3.
Yeah.
I mean, Sergei Zubov famously said, if you have 2 men up and you have more than 45 seconds, you need to be scoring a goal. That has to happen.
And they had good chances on the 5-on-3, but I did not like the way that I didn't like their game plan on the 5-on-3. I mean, the reason we're so successful 5-on-4 is what Razor was talking about all night long. It's like the movement. The movement without the puck is why our power play is top 10. And once we got 5-on-3, we just didn't move. I mean, no one was moving. We were just passing back and forth. We were taking some one-timers from the sideboards, but they weren't cross crease. They were from the top of the crease to the side, and that's not as much movement. And when Gibson is on, he's going to stop it. I mean, he's playing fantastic. His movement was solid tonight. So I like to see more of what you're doing on the 5-on-4, on the 5-on-3. I mean, it felt like they just hadn't practiced it in forever.
Let me put this forward, because I think this has to do something with it. When the Stars were really hot on their power play, what was the thing that was really going for them?
The deflections.
It was the deflections, right? Are they trying to get away from the deflections because teams are playing towards that part of their power play? So they're having to find different ways to score, and maybe that's why it's not as effective in some of these things? Or are they just trying to get away from the deflections because they want to have a variety of things to go through? Because, if I'm Steve Spott, who runs the power play, I am like taking full advantage of that whole deflection thing. Because, how many deflections did we see tonight? Not very many, especially on the power play. There was a lot of cross crease and one-timers and stuff like that, which is fine and great and everything. But, we need to see more deflections, in my opinion, because that's a huge, huge strong suit. Yes, of Pavelski, but of this whole team in general as well.
Yeah, I agree to a point. I also think teams are defending it a lot more specifically than they were before. So if you're looking at the high slot, there's almost 2 guys on the point guy at the center of the ice every single time the puck is there. if you're watching the penalty kill for every team we play against, not just the Ducks tonight. Almost every team is just, as soon as the puck is on the point, it's 4 guys in the slot, and it's stop the puck. We don't care if our goalie sees it. We're going to stop it before it gets to him. So I think, and that's kind of the big thing that stopped our big push when we were doing all those deflections. I mean, it slowed down after that because people were defending specifically that, and they were giving up the sideboard one-timers all we wanted because we didn't have a guy who could bury him. So I think the more important thing is to have someone score on the one-timers. I mean, Rope Hintz, Tyler Seguin on the boards. I mean, Jason Robertson even needs to kind of get in on that, I feel like. So
Gurianov.
Yeah.
We've been saying that for years, though, now, too. So
yeah, but someone's got to find that one-timer shot because that's a bread and butter play in the NHL. And if you don't have that and you just have deflections, they're going to do what they're doing right now and just clog the center. Can't get a puck through when there's 6 guys in the shot lane.
We need somebody to go all Alexander Ovechkin on the other team.
So. Exactly. If you got an Alexander Ovechkin, you get the deflection every time too. So
yeah. Well, we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but first period that there was a 4-on-4 at one point, and the Anaheim Ducks were not very happy about that. And there was a lot of Anaheim fans complaining about the officiating tonight, which the officiating was wasn't all that great tonight, but I'm not going to complain about it because it was in the Stars' favor, so that's okay.
Well, I'll disagree with that. I mean,
go ahead.
All those were penalties, in my opinion. Almost every single one was a penalty. Especially the guy that got us the 5-on-3. I mean, how are you arguing that hard? You literally laid our guy out when you were trying to break out in the other direction. That's a penalty. It was clear as day. So I think they're just complaining a bunch. They're the most penalized team in the league for a reason, and they really showed it tonight because they did not play a very clean game. They sucked it up.
Well, I guess during the second period, I'll just mention a couple of things that I saw. Johnson was looking really good, and the second period was the complete opposite from the first period, and the fact that especially the Stars were much better in the second period, and they were just going downtown. I mean, it was the ice was completely tilted towards the Anaheim zone for a majority of that period, and I don't know what it is. John Gibson has not had a good year, but he has had a really good year against the Dallas Stars.
He's had 2 good games against the Stars, yeah. The shots in the second were 18-9. We doubled them up.
Stupid.
And John Gibson saved all but 1. I mean, the dude that was his period. He put his mark on that one for sure. That was fantastic. Unbelievable.
Well, and then let's go ahead and talk about that second goal for a second, because it was Rope Hintz who gets the goal there, but it was completely set up by Gurianov. I mean, Gurianov gets all the credit. He should get the first and the second assist for this play. He forces the turnover down deep in the zone, which, by the way, we saw him use his speed quite a bit tonight. So hopefully he keeps that up. He puck-jacked Henrique, and then he makes the brilliant pass to Rope Hintz, who's flying down the ice on the opposite side. Great play overall. 2-0 Dallas.
Yeah, and it took a perfect play to beat Gibson. I mean,
right, that was the other thing I was thinking.
Totally cross-crease pass, and Rope still had to go cookie jar to score it. I mean, if he just shoots that at the middle of the net, Gibson saves it again. So it was incredible, but they execute on the perfect play. Gurianov, absolutely agree. Really doing the grunge work of a fourth liner. He looked like one out there, and he got the job done. That was fantastic by him.
Would you be happy with him if he came back at a lesser cap hit, but he played that kind of a role? I was thinking about that during the game.
So the problem is you can't do that because you have a minimum contract with an RFA. It has to be a certain number over, unless you let him go to UFA and sign him as a UFA.
Now he can. Now here's how this works. He can force the Stars to sign him at his qualifying offer, right, as a restricted free agent. He doesn't have to take that option, though. So if the Stars came to him and said, hey, we're not going to give you this $3+ million qualifying offer, what you want. So we're planning on letting you go to restricted free agency or unrestricted free agency. But we still want to keep you. Would you come back at a lesser cap hit, say 1.25 or 1.5? Now, I don't know if he would do that or not, but if he thinks that he's in a good situation in Dallas and Dallas is willing to keep him, I mean, he's looked decent at times in the bottom 6. It's just the only problem now that I'm thinking about it is that that's really all he plays. He might get some second line power play time, but he's not going to play on the penalty kill and stuff like that. I mean, is that something you consider for Dennis
It
Gurianov?
would have to be a massive pay cut. I'm saying like $1 million or less, like just above league minimum.
I
Because
give him 1.25 at most
for what he
for a
does,
year.
if you're paying for what he is right now, he is not worth more than $1 million. He's probably not even worth $1 million, honestly. What you're paying for is still the potential that he could be something, which we've been oohing and on at that for 4 years now. I think that's unless he shows something crazy in this last third of the season. My answer is no.
You get what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you see is what you get. Okay, well, anyway, towards the end of the second period, we already mentioned it, but Dallas would go on the power play, McTavish for holding. That's not the 5-on-3. But then at 1:28 remaining, it's Jones who takes an interference penalty. I thought it was a little ticky-tacky, but then Vetrano just goes after the ref, and I was just like, okay, all right. So he gets sent off to the locker room early, and I'm thinking, really? They gave him a misconduct penalty? Sure enough, they did. So it's 5-on-3 Dallas on the power play, and they don't take advantage of it. And I don't know how you felt about that power play compared to the 5-on-4 in the first period that I thought was excellent. I honestly thought the 5-on-4 power play was better than the 5-on-3 power play.
It for sure was, yeah. For all the reasons that I said earlier, there was just no movement.
Right. So into the third period, it's just frustrating because the Stars, again, this is all of a sudden they're not able to score goals, and it's not from a lack of chances like in the bonus era. In the bonus era, they purposely laid back and just, took advantage of the few opportunities they got. They're getting opportunity after opportunity in these last 4 games. This game before the break, after the break, and the 3 games before the break. And in the Buffalo game, they were just that second period, they were just hounding the Sabres over and over and over, and they were not able to get a goal. Here tonight, it's the same sort of thing. Gibson looks like he's standing on his head, which he did play well, but the Stars didn't take advantage of any of their opportunities there. By the way, I forgot to mention, Robo, immediately after that Hens goal, had an opportunity. It hits the crossbar, goes up into the rafters. So it's just frustrating. I think they need to figure out what that, if it's like a mental thing or if they're just being too cute with the puck and trying to make too many fancy plays, and they just need to shoot it up to the point, shoot it down towards the net, look for gross, nasty rebounds. I don't know what the answer is here.
It wasn't much fancy tonight. We had 41 shots. That's crazy.
There's a couple
they're not
fancy
cute
plays.
enough. Maybe we need to be more cute.
More cute.
Get a little cuter.
So, anyways, what did you think of the first half of the third period overall? Because I didn't think the Stars were playing enough time in the Anaheim zone.
Yeah, no, I kind of thought it sucked. It really felt like they laid back a good bit in the first period. And in the first 10 minutes, it was fine. Ducks weren't getting any real great chances, so it wasn't a huge deal. But we were trying to win the game 2-0. We weren't trying to score another goal. That's what it felt like.
And that's crazy considering we're one of the best third period teams when it comes to goal differential.
Yep.
We're constantly pulling that stout out of our butts and saying, hey, look how great this team is in the third period. And then we lay a goose egg in the third period against one of the worst teams in the NHL. But anyways, Silverberg scores on the power play off of a tip from a Shattenkirk shot. So that's the first goal. And I'm thinking, oh, please no. And then a minute and a half later, Henrique scores to make it 2-2. And I want to ask you about the play right before that. Do you think that Dellandrea being pulled down should have been a penalty? Because, the Stars were up in arms on the bench.
Yeah, that goal was garbage. If he's not drugged down, literally grabbed and pulled to the ground, it's an automatic break the other direction. Even it's not even a scoring chance for the Ducks. It's an automatic break for us. It's a scoring chance for the Stars. So not calling that after all the calls that they had in this game, that was criminal. That was really criminal. But it also kind of felt like what the Stars deserved after how bad the period had been going.
Well, a couple of things. My first thought was the Stars had lots of chances on the power play and they didn't take advantage of it. So that's one thing that you could say. and take it out of the ref's hands and put it into the Stars' hands and say, y'all didn't do your job on the power play. And you had a 5-on-3 for 2 minutes. Yes, it was split across 2 periods.
I agree. That is
Still.
the bigger problem.
So, yeah, that's the bigger point. But I really need to go back and look at that again and make up my mind, because looking at it in real time, it looked like a penalty. It looked like a penalty because it led to a scoring chance for the Anaheim Ducks. It didn't go out of their zone, and I don't know. It just looked like a penalty, but I need to go back and look at it.
It was 100% penalty. Dellinger is shielding him off from the puck with his arm. The guy grabs his arm and falls. That's a hold. That's a hold 10 out of 10 times. I mean,
that's fair.
It's a penalty. The Stars wouldn't have scored on the power play, but the Ducks also shouldn't have scored. So I don't know.
So how cool was it to see Jordy Ben? Did you see Jordy Ben?
I saw Jordy Ben.
Not as impressed with him. I thought it was cool that he came and supported his brother.
It was cool that he came and supported his brother. I will say that. But, man, anytime I see Jordy Ben in any kind of Dallas Stars paraphernalia, I get a little bit nervous that the puck is going to deflect off of him and go in.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, so it's unfortunate. But right after those 2 goals, too, and the Jordy Ben interview actually was after those 2 goals. And after that Jordy Ben interview, I wrote that Anaheim is just controlling the puck most of the time in this third period, and it's frustrating. So 4:10 remaining, Dellandrea misses just high. So again, another chance for the Stars, and they're just not getting it on net, and they're not spending enough time in the other zone. And then there was a giant chance for Kulikov, wide open, probably had the best chance in the last 4 or 5 minutes there in the third, and he just missed. And we go to overtime, and of course, I'm already thinking this game is over. The Stars are going to lose it. This is going to be the 4th loss in a row past 60 minutes. Thankfully, that would not be the case. But what did you think of the Stars' play overall in the overtime period?
The Stars didn't play great, but it's a good thing we got a Jake Ottinger. That new bucket is 1 for 1 in past 60.
Yep, he needs to keep wearing it. So, well, the Stars had good chances too. So when they went on the penalty kill and they were shorthanded, Dallas went 2-on-1 shorthanded, and I know it was Esa Lindell, but Lindell still got a good shot. He just doesn't take a huge amounts of shots because he's mostly focused on the defensive side of the game. But he had a huge chance, and Gibson came up huge on that particular save. And then Frank Vetrano the other way, after Ottinger kind of mishandled the puck slightly, didn't fully mishandle it, but it was a little bit mishandled.
Hakanpää mishandled that puck, Colin.
More so than Otter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Otter kind of bailed him out a little bit. And then Miro goes 1v3 and basically does it himself and has a chance. And then Johnson tries to do the same thing with like less than 10 seconds remaining.
Almost does.
And almost does it. They both almost do it, right? So, I mean, and the other thing that was really cool to see was, it was Pavelski, Hintz, and Robertson out there, 3-on-3. I thought that was cool. I was like, you know what?
It was
go
cool,
for it.
and I like that he's trying something. And boy, was that a full balls to the wall approach. I mean, when it was 2-on-1 going the other direction and Roope Hintz was our defenseman, I was like, well, that was a fun experiment. But
oh man,
luckily Ottinger stopped it. But man, I don't know if that's the way to go or not. But if they don't score on the first shift, I feel like 9 out of 10 times they're gonna lose. So I don't know what the answer is, and I'm sure DeBoer doesn't either after that kind of play. But
he's just like, what the heck, man? Next thing we'll probably see like I don't know, like Kiviranta, Glendening, and Fox all out there.
Yeah, just a working line. Yeah,
right, exactly. Just go for it. And in honor of the people tonight who won the game, and in honor of Jamie Benn, Chris is wearing the jersey that I bought him. He's got the Jamie Benn jersey on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to show up and show everybody. Yep.
Bam.
Acknowledge your captain, Christian Chambers. And acknowledging the man who wins the shootout for the Dallas Stars, Tyler Seguin. I'm wearing my Reverse Retro 1 Tyler Seguin jersey. It's too big for me, but it was the only one they had, and it was on sale, so I got it.
Dude, that Seguin that Sagan shootout goal, he was on a mission. He didn't care what was
Yeah.
happening. He was scoring the goal. If you watch his eyes that whole time before and after the goal, that was a business skate right there. Not a business trip. That was a business skate. He was getting the job done.
How about all those moves from Zegras though? That in that first shootout attempt, I was like, "Holy crap!" I don't know
Pretty.
how there's no way Ottinger would have been able to keep up with him. He just
What are
got
you
lucky
talking
that
about? No, he was there. The dude was
he
trying to
soared.
slide. No, he was trying to slide across on the backhand. And if you go watch, Ottinger's foot is on the post. The puck's never going in.
I don't
He
know.
got
All he had to
he
do
got
is elevate
stopped.
it.
He wasn't going to elevate it. He was in the blue. You're not going to elevate it when you're in the blue, dude. Do not give him that much credit. He dangled himself out of it out of his chance. You laugh at him for that, just like Ottinger did. What a loser! All those
Yep.
dangles and you can't get a shot. What a moron!
Same thing with the other guy. Who was the other guy that Henrique? Henrique didn't even get a good shot off either. He just kind of fell off his stick. So, I mean, in all reality, Ottinger didn't even need to make a save tonight in the shootout.
Just one.
So, but anyways, Stars get the win. They win in the shootout. And I guess I'm just more happy for why I'm not so upset about this game. Normally, I would be more upset about this game and the way that it came out, but eventually the odds are going to go in our favor, right? The Stars are playing well. They are playing well, despite the fact that, these 4 overtime games have not really gone in their favor other than the one tonight. Eventually it's going to go in our favor. And maybe in one of the things that the hockey guy has mentioned lately, Chris, actually, is the reason why he's not so high on the Stars right now, which is very strange because he is a Dallas Stars fan. That's like the number 3 team he roots for. He thinks they're missing that killer instinct. Is that something that's fair to talk about with the Dallas Stars? They don't have that killer instinct, and that's why we should be concerned with them right now. What do you think?
I just think they're very hot and cold, like within the season and even within games sometimes. So like the second period is amazing period, Stars dominated, and the third period is Stars are terrible. They're no good. So I think all it's going to take is kind of what it takes for any team to make a run at a championship in pro sports. I mean, if they get hot at the end of the year and Ottinger is on fire, they're the best team in the league, and they're going to be unbeatable if they keep that going. So it depends what happens at the end of the season for their overall success, in my opinion. If we're going like we were earlier in the season, it's going to be tough to beat us. If we're on a cool down the way we are right now, we might be out in the first round. So, but that's what I think I find exciting about this team. Like we have the potential to be the best team in the league, and sometimes we can even be one of the worst. So.
Well, we got lots of things to talk about on Wednesday too. There's a big one I want to talk about with Bally Sports Southwest. I don't know if you've heard the storylines behind them recently. We won't talk about it tonight. We'll save it for Wednesday. But that's very noteworthy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go do your homework right now. It's very important, and we'll talk about that on Wednesday. But one more question, Chris, and we'll wrap it up. This is from Rob over here in the chat. We got to talk about it. Let's just do it real quick because it would take a long time to discuss this. But who would y'all like at the trade deadline? So you have to pick between one of these 4 players, Chris. All right? Timo Meier, Erik Karlsson, John Klingberg, or Patrick Kane. Which one of those 4 guys would you like for the Stars to trade at the trade deadline?
Timo Meier.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the best right now. He would make the biggest impact on this team.
I think we need somebody who can help us with that killer instinct. My only problem is I don't know who that is.
Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane. Dude scored a goal to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
he hasn't had a great year, but if you're talking about killer instinct, no one's better than Patrick Kane. He's won 3 Stanley Cups.
But he's done that in his past, and he hasn't been like that dominating player, even like he was last year. And maybe that's because he has no motivation to play for the Chicago Blackhawks right now. Maybe that's part of it.
He's on a terrible franchise and the worst team in the league.
Yeah, so I mean that's fair, but I don't know. I would be a little iffy about how the Stars would be able to get that contract to fit underneath their cap situation. I just don't see it happening.
That's why I like Timo Meier better, and I think he's having a better year too. So,
only thing that scares me about him is he is a restricted free agent, and if you do want to re-sign him, his qualifying offer, we talked about Garano's qualifying offers at 2.9 next year, I think, as well. His is at $10 million. So he would be making more than Robertson, Hintz, Miro, any of those guys.
Yeah, I don't think you resign him. I think he's a rental, and I'm fine with
exactly.
that.
And
I mean, where we are in the season, a rental is 100% okay with me, especially with where we are going into next season too. I mean, we've looked into that. The team next year looks great, so don't worry about messing with that. Let's get a rental and try and win.
See, and that's why I think we don't need to go out and get somebody big. I don't think that we need somebody big. I think it's going to be somebody in a middle six role that we can get. I mean, like a Zuccarello. I mean, Zuccarello would be an absolute perfect addition right now.
Maybe not someone big. I do think you need to get somebody. I mean, there's
shake up the team a little bit, yeah.
And there's two obvious holes. Yeah. I mean, you're missing one more puck-moving defenseman, and you're missing one guy who can play in the second line.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're missing. And there are two obvious holes. Fill one of them, and you're so much better, I feel like, immediately.
If you can fill both, do it. I'd love to see it. Okay.
That would be insane.
We're getting late here tonight, so we'll go ahead and close up shop here tonight. But we'll be back with you guys on Wednesday to talk a lot of other hockey stuff. There is a game on Wednesday night as well, so we'll be looking forward to that. We'll probably start it a little later since it is a church night. So we normally go to church around like 7 to 8, so we'll probably start watching the game a little later, about 8:30. So maybe look for a little bit later, not crazy later, but like maybe 10:30, 10:35, just so we can get through the game and be able to talk about the game, a little bit about Ballet Sports and what's going on with that situation. And we'll even talk about more trade deadline stuff because but Horvat is no longer on the trade market. We haven't gotten to talk about that yet, so we need to do that. And we'll do that on Wednesday. So anyways, Chris, anything else we need to mention tonight?
Thank goodness hockey's back. I missed it.
Real hockey. I guess we got to talk about All-Star a little bit, at least mention it. So real hockey is back for the Dallas Stars. So, okay, please go ahead and check out sarcasticremarks.com. It's our brand new website. And also go and check out sarcasticremarksshop.com for all the latest merch options there. There will be a new blog post tomorrow morning from my thoughts about this game and how this went for the Stars tonight and what I want to see from them going forward. And once again, thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook and Raycon for being the sponsors of this episode of our podcast. Use that promo code THPN the next time you are there. Along with Chris, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. James will be back with on Wednesday. And we hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. Chris, take us out.
GG, boys. Win streak starts now.